Hey everyone, this is Steve from GamersNexus.net, and today we're reviewing some speakers. These are the GX Gaming SW-G2.1 2000 45-watt speaker system speakers, and that's sort of the name. There's a lot more words, but that's the gist of it. And these are made by Genius, which is an Asian company that is beginning to venture into the US market with gaming. It did so with the Gila mouse and with the Death Taker mouse, and we reviewed both of those when they shipped probably about 2 years ago now. But this is their speaker setup, and the speakers are pretty straightforward. It's two satellite speakers and a subwoofer, and then it also includes a sound mixer. So that's four total components, and it's got all the cables that you need, of course. The hard specs are this. The satellite speakers use 3-inch high excursion metallic drivers. So that's fairly standard drivers for a budget class speaker setup like this one. 3 inches though is about 76 millimeters, and your average headset driver is maybe about 40 millimeters. So it's a little bit bigger than a headset driver, almost twice as big. The subwoofer uses a 6.5-inch pressure driver, and that's pretty darn big. It's not maybe the 8-inch drivers you'll find in some cars, but for a cheap $96 gaming PC setup, it's pretty good. So that's just the driver size. The frequency response is fairly average, nothing to call home about. It's 25 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Again, pretty average there. The output power is measured at 45 watts total, RMS standard measurement, and the subwoofer is 29 watts. Each satellite speaker is 8 watts-ish. So that's sort of the power output, the drivers, and the frequency response. There are four total components, as mentioned, and it retails at $96. This makes it a budget-friendly speaker system, and the mixer makes it appealing to HTPC audiences. Now, to put my reviewer stance into perspective, because audio is more subjective, I personally use a set of the Corsair speakers that are $230. They're pretty high-end for PC speakers, and they're very good quality for music and for gaming. The GX gaming speakers are a bit more tuned for the gaming side of things. They're not really advertised as music speakers, but obviously they will play music just fine. Just it will be a bit more tinny in my experience. So in testing the Genius speakers, they had a bit of a tin on hi-hat heavy songs or on songs that had harsher vocals. So not perfect, but pretty good for $100. I would call it above average for the audio quality with regard to music. With regard to gaming, the bass is very boomy. It sounds great with explosions in games like Battlefield and in more cinematic games like Skyrim, where you will probably be playing that type of game in a living room environment. And the reason I mention that is because I think these speakers are sort of the ultimate option for a semi-complex home theater PC setup if you don't want any other mixers, or if you don't want preamps and amps and all of that stuff. If you kind of just want one solution to plug into the PC and go, this is a good place to start. The mixer will accept 3 total inputs plus a line in, and it's got a 3.5 out as well. So you can actually set this up as a PC in one of the spots, call it a turntable or record player in another one. You can plug in your MP3 player into the line-in, and then use a source button to toggle the mode to jump between each of these devices. And it is highlighted with an LED, so it's very user-friendly. Now, you won't get as full of a sound with this type of speaker in a living room environment, because these are really meant to be about 18 inches away from your ears in more of a desktop PC environment, but the mixer does make it very tempting to put in a multi-use setup, especially if you've got 2 computers or something like that. Audio quality on the whole is fairly good. I would say that if you've got 2 times the money, the Corsair speakers that I use are really pretty amazing. They're 2.1 setup as well if you don't want all the mess of a 5.1 setup. It is called the SP2500, and the Corsair ones do ship with an equalizer so that you can actually mix the audio a little bit more accurately depending on what you're doing. If you're just looking for something affordable that can be used to a versatile end in a complex environment at about $100, I would suggest the GX Gaming 2000 speakers that we're reviewing here. They really are very easy to set up and use. Sound quality is decent. I have complaints about the tinniness in some music. In the games, the bass is fine. In music, the bass sometimes feels a little bit muddy and kind of washed out. But in games, it sounds just fine for your average explosions and dragons and things like that. So that is the Genius 2000 2.1 speakers. You can check the link in the description below for the full review and an article if you want to read more of my thoughts. And I will see you all next time. Peace.